Okay, so they locked my baby daddy up for child support, my oldest. I was so mad. I went to court and they had him in. Well, let me tell y'all from the beginning. So I went to the courtroom and I sat down. And the bailiff came running over and he was like, "You can't sit there, you can't sit there." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "All the men on this side, all the females on this side." And I started looking around the courtroom like, God dang. So they separate the females and the males. And I thought that was strange. And I just thought it was strange. So while I was sitting there waiting for them to call my name, I was matching this man with this woman, just, biding my time. So when they called my name and my baby daddy name, they brought him out in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs and shackles. And that pissed me off even more. I was so mad. I told Your Honor, I let her say what she was going to say. Then I was like, "Your Honor, I want all child support struck. I want current, arrears, and future struck today." And the whole courtroom went crazy. It was just like everybody was talking. She had to hit the gavel and she was like boom, 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 boom. And then she was like, "Do you understand what you're saying?" And I was like, "Yes." And so they took me outside the courtroom. They have two rooms on either side of the hallway, right after, as soon as you go out the courtroom. So they brought me in there, and I was sitting in there for a long time. The bailiff came in, and he was like, "Is anybody making you feel uncomfortable? Or is anybody threatening you? Or do you feel like, you're under duress to do this?" And I was like, "No, no, no. My daughter loves her daddy. And y'all not keeping him. I want him out of there today, and I want all child support struck." So he left back out. He came back in about 10 minutes later. He was like, "Let me see your ID. I need to see your ID." And I was like, "For real?" So I showed him my ID and stuff. So when he left back out, I was in there for a while. And then he came back, and I signed some papers and stuff. And when I came out the courtroom, it was me and standing outside the courtroom. And it was like, "Can you talk to my baby mama, please?" And I was like, I don't know what to say to your baby mama, but it just wasn't for me. My daughter loved her daddy. I didn't give a damn what he had going on. My daughter loved her daddy. I didn't need his money. I needed him, as far as my daughter was concerned. So yeah, that happened. Around the courtroom like, God dang. So they separate the females and the males. And I thought that was strange. And I just thought it was strange. So I keep getting comments like this, and I get it. I understand. But no, I needed some assistance. He was going through whatever he was going through, um, and I needed some help. So I signed up for government assistance. And once I did that, they automatically put the man on child support. This is 30 years ago. So yeah. And then when I fully understood what that meant, I straightened it out. And I took care of it. So yeah, that's what happened. They're just trying to separate families and making money off of it, demasculating men, but you guys do have rights. You just gotta stick up for your rights and not let anybody push you around. There's one guy on here that said that, he just forget about his kids because there's nothing he can do, and I hate to hear that. Never give up. Fight. Fight, damn it. Fight.
Is a contempt matter? I'll ask the agent to give us the numbers.
You said contempt?
Yes,
Yes.
Tim, go ahead.
Yes. So the arrears balance as of February 28th, 2023 is $33,163.86. The current support amount is $291. The current repay amount is $58. And the purge amount that's still on the order from the first arrest order is $873.
You haven't made a payment towards that purge for the arrest order. When you plan on doing it?
You said an arrest order for when?
Yes, put
I've
an
never
arrest
been
order.
arrested.
Listen to me. You hadn't paid, and I issued an arrest order for $873. When are you going to pay it?
I guess I can. I can. That's all I have is like $1,000 to my name. I'm still seeking employment as we speak.
When's the last time you worked?
Last time I worked was like a couple of months ago, and I was like briefly let go because I wasn't able to be on it due to my license consistently being suspended due to child support. So they
Right,
dropped.
you gotta pay your child support, so they won't suspend it. Does he qualify for PAC?
It often does. Other men don't become dad by default. He is a wanted man because he refuses to do what the state orders and pay child support for a child that DNA tests prove isn't his. A child he doesn't even know.
Now, you would think one of the most technologically advanced places in the world, America, that we would actually have mandatory paternity testing at birth to protect the men, but why would we do that when they're funding the welfare system? I digress.
I haven't even had a chance to really speak to him except for one time when we took the DNA test.
Nonetheless, right now, under the law, he's a deadbeat dad. Today, he turned himself in to the judge as ordered.
Scared because I've been before this judge before.
But this time he had attorney Cherika Harris, who volunteered to help after seeing his story on 7 Action News. The judge said he will not go to jail for today. Jail is on hold. It is not over. Carnell Alexander still owes more than $30,000 to the state for a child that's not his because the mom wrote his name down because she needed to name someone in order to get welfare benefits. Carnell isn't just worried about how this is impacting him. He says the law needs to be changed.
Oh, America. All right, let's review the facts and remove all emotion from the case as much as we can. There's a survey between the census and various paternity lab and DNA clinics that stated somewhere between 5 to 30% of men are fathering kids that are not biologically theirs. The only person that would actually know the true father of those said kids are the woman who conceived that child at birth. But yes, we have blatant fraternity fraud. And none of these people are getting arrested and locked up for this thing. One of the reasons why the numbers are so vast is because only the mother truly knows who the father is. And at the end of the day, you can't test men who are not really the father of the kids. So that number is going to be skewed. Now, this is alarming. Let me know if what you think this lady did was disgusting. What do you think her ramifications should be? And what do you think should happen to this young man who is actually in fear for his life? Whatever your thoughts, let's talk about it.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.